Sally Field isn't just a Hollywood legend. She's a survivor who turned private pain into unforgettable performances. To millions, she's the lovable star of Mrs. Doubtfire and the heartfelt mother in Forrest Gump. But behind the applause was a woman carrying wounds so deep they nearly silenced her forever. Her journey wasn't about fame, it was about survival, of neglect, heartbreak, and even a brush with death. At 78, she stands as proof that resilience can outshine glamour. This isn't just the story of an actress. It's the story of a woman who refused to break, even when everything around her tried. Sally Field was born in Pasadena, California in 1946, into a home that looked polished from the outside but was fractured within. Her parents divorced when she was 4, leaving her adrift in a world where stability was a luxury. When her mother remarried stuntman Jock Mahoney, Sally's life darkened in ways she couldn't yet put into words. Behind closed doors, her stepfather shattered the trust a child should feel at home. But perhaps the deeper betrayal was silence, the absence of her mother's protection. "I was screaming inside, but no one heard me," Sally later wrote. Neglect became the wallpaper of her childhood, a quiet erasure that left invisible scars. Yet within the suffocating silence, a small flame began to flicker. Acting, at first just a distraction, became a lifeline. On film sets where her mother worked, she saw characters speaking truths that no one dared speak in her home. In high school drama class, she discovered freedom in becoming someone else, someone fearless. For Sally, acting wasn't about stardom. It was about survival, a way to escape a reality that refused to see her. But even this escape would soon trap her in a different kind of prison, the glare of fame. At just 18, Sally landed the role of Gidget, a bubbly surfer girl in a sitcom that captured America's attention. 2 years later came The Flying Nun, a role that made her a household name. Fans adored her, networks profited from her, and Hollywood locked her into an image she despised. She was painted as the cheerful, wholesome girl next door, when inside she longed to prove her depth. Each smile on screen felt like a mask, each laugh line a dismissal of her true power. While America saw her as a symbol of lightness, she quietly felt suffocated, typecast, and underestimated. "They didn't believe I could handle real drama," she admitted years later. The pressure to stay inside that box only grew, and Sally began to feel invisible in the very spotlight meant to celebrate her. The fame that millions dreamed of felt to her like a gilded cage. She was loved but not understood, successful but deeply unfulfilled. She faced a choice: continue to be America's sweetheart or step into the terrifying unknown. And in a move few young actresses would dare, Sally walked away. But leaving the cameras behind didn't free her right away. It pulled her into an even darker struggle. From 1968 to 1971, Sally vanished from television screens. She rejected every shallow role offered to her, letting her career fall silent. Instead, she buried herself in Lee Strasberg's actor's studio, where she trained in method acting. This wasn't just education, it was excavation. She stripped herself bare, channeling buried grief and insecurities into raw performances. But the process left her exhausted, riddled with self-doubt, and on the verge of walking away from acting forever. "I thought I'd end up waitressing," she confessed, believing Hollywood had written her off as a failed starlet. Depression and disordered eating shadowed her. Then came 1976 and Sybil. In this groundbreaking role, she embodied 13 distinct personalities, each fractured by trauma. Sally's haunting performance silenced critics and earned her an Emmy. For the first time, she felt truly seen. Not as a gimmick, not as a sitcom darling, but as an actress of profound depth. Sybil was more than a performance. It was proof to herself and the industry that she could turn scars into art. But as her professional life soared, her personal life spiraled. The roles proved her worth to the world, yet behind the curtain, her relationships brought new battles she wasn't ready for. Sally's love life was anything but simple. She first married high school sweetheart Stephen Craig in 1968, and together they had 2 sons, Peter and Eli. But by 1975, the marriage ended, leaving Sally heartbroken but determined. Then came Burt Reynolds, the charismatic megastar who swept her into one of Hollywood's most turbulent romances. Their passion was fiery, their chemistry undeniable. But behind the scenes, the relationship was riddled with control, jealousy, and cutting words. Burt belittled her, even dismissing her Norma Ray role, the very film that would win her an Oscar. When she stood on that stage in triumph, Burt wasn't there to celebrate. Years later, he would confess she was the love of his life. But by then, she had already healed herself by walking away. Her second marriage to producer Alan Greisman brought stability, and together they welcomed her youngest son, Sam. But even that union unraveled by 1994. Through heartbreak after heartbreak, Sally discovered a painful truth. Love wouldn't save her. She would have to save herself. Just as she began to rebuild, life delivered a blow more terrifying than betrayal. A moment when survival wasn't just emotional, it was life or death. In 1988, Sally boarded a private jet in Aspen with her family. The crisp air smelled of snow. The flight felt routine, until it wasn't. Just seconds after takeoff, the engines faltered. The plane plummeted, colliding with another aircraft on the ground in a crash that tore steel apart like paper. Smoke filled the cabin, flames licked at the wreckage, and panic consumed every second. This is it, Sally thought, convinced her story was ending in fire and chaos. Miraculously, she and her loved ones survived with only minor physical injuries, but the emotional aftermath lingered. For months, she replayed the sounds, the tilt of the wing, the suffocating heat. The near-death experience changed her permanently. Survival, she realized, was not just about escaping tragedy. It was about choosing how to live after. She shifted her focus, drawing deeper into family, purpose, and authenticity. To the public, she brushed off the incident. Privately, it was the hinge on which her life turned. Every role, every relationship, every choice afterward carried the weight of that moment. The applause of Hollywood mattered less. The preciousness of life mattered more. And yet, even after facing death, Sally wasn't done proving herself, especially in the ruthless arena of Hollywood. By the late 1970s, Sally Field's career was reborn. In Norma Rae, 1979, she played a textile worker fighting for justice, a role that won her an Academy Award and forever shed the image of lightweight actress. But this was no overnight victory. It was the reward for years of rejection and resilience. 5 years later, she claimed a second Oscar for Places in the Heart. Her acceptance speech, "You like me right now, you like me," captured not just joy, but years of craving validation. Roles in Steel Magnolias, Mrs. Doubtfire, and Forrest Gump cemented her as one of Hollywood's most versatile actresses. Yet behind the scenes, she still faced ageism and skepticism. Hollywood had little interest in offering complex roles to women beyond a certain age. But Sally refused to fade. Even in her 60s, she stunned audiences as Mary Todd Lincoln in Spielberg's Lincoln, earning another Oscar nomination. Each performance proved what she had always known, that authenticity and depth mattered more than image. By then, she wasn't chasing stardom. She was embodying truth. But as commanding as her on-screen roles were, her off-screen advocacy and family devotion became an equally powerful part of her legacy. For Sally Field, advocacy wasn't political theory, it was personal. She had lived the silence of abuse, the isolation of neglect, the betrayal of being dismissed. That pain fueled her voice for women's rights. Her activism deepened when her youngest son, Sam, came out as gay. Instead of distance, his truth pulled them closer, turning Sally into a fierce advocate for LGBTQ+ equality. In 2012, she accepted the Human Rights Campaign's Ally for Equality Award with a speech that moved millions. She also joined Jane Fonda in climate marches, risking arrest to push for action. Even her osteoporosis diagnosis in 2005 became fuel for awareness. She launched the Rally with Sally campaign to encourage women to get screened early and take control of their health. Every battle she fought was about breaking silence, whether for her children, for women, or for the voiceless. "I never wanted another girl to feel as invisible as I once did," she said. This drive defined her as much as any Oscar. For Sally, the stage was not only Hollywood, it was life itself. And as the years passed, her greatest role became not a character on screen, but a mother and grandmother building the legacy of her family. Now in her late 70s, Sally Field lives quietly in Pacific Palisades, in a home filled not with trophies, but with family laughter. Her days are simple: yoga at sunrise, gardening in the afternoon, evenings spent with grandchildren. Wealth and fame were never her compass. Instead, she chose intention and authenticity. In her 2018 memoir, In Pieces, she bared the scars of her past as a gift to her younger self, the little girl who once felt invisible. Today, she has nothing left to prove. Her legacy is secure not only in 2 Oscars, but in the lives she's touched with her honesty and resilience. She is the grandmother planting flowers with tiny hands beside her, the mother who stood by her son without hesitation, the woman who risked arrest to defend the planet, the survivor who turned silence into voice. Sally Field's story is not one of stardom, it's one of survival, of refusing to be broken. And in that refusal, she became more than a Hollywood star. She became a symbol of strength. Her journey reminds us that true beauty isn't in perfection, it's in authenticity. Which part of her story speaks most to you? Share below and subscribe for more stories that matter.